Trump campaign is now reaching voters online.
You are seeing the President of the United States. Look at the lines.
You join our movement.
A lot of President Trump supporters here.
Greatest movement in the history of our country. I'm fighting for you, and I love doing it with everything that I have. And I will never, ever stop. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will make America great again.
Welcome to Team Trump Online. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's Team Trump Online Army for Trump Boot Camp. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Erin Perrine, Principal Deputy Communications Director for President Trump's re-election campaign. Tonight, you're in for an extra special broadcast as we're virtually going to take you across the country, catch up with some of the hardworking members of the Trump Victory team, some of our state directors who can give you a view of where the campaign stands as we've moved completely virtual. I'm going to start this evening with Drew Sexton, the Arizona Trump Victory State Director. Drew, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thanks for having me, Erin. Always great to represent the Grand Canyon State.
That's great. So let's talk about the fact that we had to transition this campaign from really in person to digital seamlessly within 24 hours due to the coronavirus. How have things been working with the virtual campaign in the state of Arizona?
You know, Arizona is the sixth largest state in the entire country. We have a lot of ground to cover here. And one of the things that we had actually started doing last summer was in an effort to engage a lot of our rural activists and supporters of President Trump. We had been using digital platforms like Zoom, GoToMeeting, FaceTime to make sure that those folks were still able to engage with us in MAGA meetups and Trump Victory Leadership Initiative training sessions. This was something that we trained our staff on as they came on board. So really, we had been building up the digital infrastructure and knowledge to be able to make this switch at any moment. So we felt very confident as soon as we got the word to make this transition virtually that we were going to be able to do that. You know, one of the other things that makes Arizona a little bit unique is that compared to states like, you know, in the Midwest and the Northeast, November to May really is our primetime door knocking months. We're focused on being at community events. We're doing voter registration at farmers markets. We're at spring training games talking to Arizonans. So really phone banking wasn't something that we had focused on. In fact, going into Friday, March 13th, we had only made about 8,000 phone calls as a team with our volunteers. But because we had built up the digital infrastructure to make this quick transition, just in the past 6 weeks, we've done more than 350 virtual events, whether it be a MAGA meetup or a Trump Victory Leadership Initiative training session. And as of today, we've now made more than 750,000 phone calls to voters talking about what President Trump and his administration have done to defeat the invisible enemy and make sure Arizonans are healthy, safe, and ready to get back to work.
An absolutely seamless transition for a campaign data and digitally focused since day one. You mentioned the infrastructure was there and you guys turned it on and have absolutely run with it. So what's the message? What are you talking about with folks in Arizona at this point during your MAGA meetups and during your trainings and your events? What are you telling voters when you're calling them?
Well, for Arizonans, we've seen firsthand President Trump's track record of promises made, promises kept over the past 3.5 years, whether it's getting better deals for Arizona workers by signing a trade agreement like the USMCA deal, whether it's continuing to build the wall on the southern border, where we've seen border crossings drop significantly since President Trump came into office. We know that President Trump is a man of his word here in Arizona. But especially since we've begun to fight this invisible enemy, we've seen President Trump take it up even another notch, making sure that small businesses here in the state of Arizona are able to receive funds through the Paycheck Protection Program, working with Senator Martha McSally to make sure that we have the ventilators and the safety equipment that we need to keep Arizonans healthy and safe. So I think it's just been such a clear and obvious difference between President Trump, his leadership, his ability to go out and tell the American people how hard he and the administration are fighting for Arizonans and Americans, and contrasting that with Joe Biden, who can't seem to get out of his basement right now. It's very easy for us to continue having these conversations. We're talking to Arizonans every day, Republicans, independents, and even Democrats who have acknowledged and believe that President Trump is the best man to lead us not only through this challenge, but to make sure that we get America back up and running again for the next 4 years.
Wow, that's absolutely great. You hear the message of promises made, promises kept, and a clear contrast with Joe Biden. And it sounds like Arizona is not only picking up the phone, but listening to the message coming from the Trump campaign and from Trump Victory altogether. And really, Trump Victory is a family. This whole team works together to make sure we're fighting for 4 more years. And you wanted to highlight, I believe, a real standout member of the Arizona Trump Victory team, if you want to go ahead and tell us about that.
Yeah, one of our fantastic Trump team leaders here in Arizona is a lady by the name of Christina Jungi. She and a lot of her family members come from South American countries. They've seen the dangers of socialism in action. They know that America can never be a socialist country. And Christina is somebody that has really gone all out in terms of going through our Trump Victory Leadership Initiative training programs. She didn't use Twitter before. Now she's on Twitter, able to share messages about how she's recruiting folks through phone banking. Making sure that she's using other social media platforms like Facebook to advocate for President Trump. And one of the cool stories, I think, from over the past few weeks was when one of our field organizers, Chris Escobedo, was able to work with her to make sure that her yard was kept clean when she wasn't able to work with workers that usually come to her house and help her out. One of our field organizers was able to go out there and make sure that she felt safe and comfortable through this challenging time. So really creating that sense of family, that sense of unity, that's going to be the difference for us in November when it comes to getting out the vote, making sure we keep Arizona red for President Trump.
It really is a moment of everybody standing together. And I think we have a quick video to show you of our standout, Christina Jungi.
Hello, I'm Christina, team leader for Trump's campaign, and I'm very proud of it. I came legally from South America, where most of our countries have suffered from socialism, but we cannot allow that to happen in this country. Trump loves his country and his constitution, and I do too. He has done amazing things for the Latinos, for the African Americans, and for all of the Americans. What I love is that he is pro-life, and he respects the Second Amendment, and he is pro-family and pro-religion, and those are values. Hope that all of you will join us to re-elect President Trump and to keep what we love.
Wow, what a great message from Christina there. You can really see that she believes 4 more years of President Trump is going to make the difference. It's so great to see supporters like that. Drew, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate the hard work you're doing. Keep it up in Arizona. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to catch up with Carly Miller, the Iowa State Director. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. I'm Erin Perrine, Principal Deputy Communications Director on President Trump's campaign. As we continue this Army for Trump boot camp online tonight, I have the pleasure of being joined by Carly Miller, our Hawkeye State Director in the great state of Iowa. Carly, thank you so much for joining today.
Thanks, Erin.
Well, it's always good to see a fellow member of the Trump team as we are social distancing. But what I want to talk about right now is how the Iowa State team really made that transition, just as everybody else did across the country, part of this campaign to go to a virtual campaign. What was that like for your team in Iowa?
Yeah, it was actually really a seamless transition. I'm so proud of our team, all of our Trump team leaders across the state for not only continuing their efforts to re-elect President Trump, but also taking the time to check in on their neighbors, check into their networks, and make sure that the people they know feel safe and have what they need during this time. We've seen a major increase in our digital activations, and we've been very, very active on phones. This week alone, we had Senators Chuck Grassley and Joni Ernst participate in digital MAGA meetups. We've made over 100,000 phone calls and had over 350 volunteers engage with us digitally during this time. And those numbers only continue to grow.
It's so good to see that Trump victory is staying hungry and aggressive to help get the message out there for President Trump. And obviously, Iowa is a diverse state, an agriculturally heavy state. And so your campaigning's a little bit different because you have a different reach into rural areas. Can you talk a little bit about what that's been like with the campaign?
You bet. We've actually seen a major increase as well in our rural engagements throughout the entire state of Iowa. It's almost been a little bit easier for some of the folks across the state because they're able to just connect with us instantaneously rather than driving miles and miles to a specific location. They can join us on virtual trainings, do virtual one-on-one meetings with members of our team, or participate at their own convenience by watching a video just like this one. We've been really, really proud of the work that our team has put forward. And when you think about Iowa, you think about farmers, you think about small rural communities, and voters across the state know that we're not only responsible for feeding the world, but President Trump stands with them during this time.
It's true. Iowa is truly part of the heartland of this country and such an important state, not only to President Trump, but really to feeding the world, as you mentioned. So what is the message that you're sharing with folks in Iowa about President Trump's record and about what 4 more years could mean for them?
President Trump promised better trade deals, and he delivered. USMCA will bring billions of dollars into the state of Iowa for Iowa farmers and everyone across the state. We've seen better negotiated deals with South Korea, the EU, Japan, and many, many other countries, as well as a massive cut in red tape and bureaucracy by the elimination of the Waters of the U.S. rule. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act has been wonderful for Iowa families, as well as over 200 Article III judges and 2 of the highest caliber Supreme Court justices confirmed. It's very, very easy for us to communicate the successful message of this administration.
Wow, it's clear to see that President Trump has a robust record to run on. And it's true, there is no better fighter for fair trade deals and for America's farmers and ranchers than President Trump. Pivoting now to the team you have in Iowa, I think we're going to have a little video clip right here from one of the strong volunteers in the great state of Iowa.
Hi, I'm Bernie Hayes, and I was invited by a member of the Trump campaign to lead a prayer MAGA meetup, something we do every Wednesday from 12:30 to 1, and we have a great time at it. When they asked me, they said, would you want to do this? And I said, sure, you better believe it. It says in the book of James that the effectual fervent prayer of righteous people makes tremendous power available. And can anybody doubt that we live in a time when we need tremendous power available, dealing with a coronavirus pandemic? It also says in 1 Timothy 2, it says, I exhort first of all, that supplications, prayers, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men, for kings, and for all who are in authority. So that puts President Trump and his administration right at the top of the list of folks to pray for. So go to TrumpVictory.com, see what kind of events are happening in your area, and I'm sure they'll get you connected up. We want to see the president and that administration continue to do the great job that they're doing. Thanks.
What a great prayerful message from Bernie. What's it been like to work with Bernie?
Bernie has been engaged with us really since we hit the ground running in August of 2019. He's been a wonderful advocate, not only of the president and the Republican Party as a whole, but of our team. He's really helped to build out support networks throughout the state, to engage with our team members, and to help us feel a part of the community and to engage with others throughout the state.
These volunteers are such an important part of the team to help get President Trump reelected for 4 more years. Carly, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join us this evening here with Team Trump Online. Thank you so much. And when we come back, we will be joined by Kevin Cabrera from the great state of Florida. Stay tuned.
We turn now to that $350 billion fund to help small businesses and its workers get through the shutdown.
It will be up to Congress to restock it.
But Democrats blocking that move this morning.
They asked for $250 billion in 48 hours. I said, well, I don't think so. They objected, and I congratulate the Senate Democrats.
Speaker Pelosi, what are you going to share with us from your home?
Chocolate candy.
Thousands have been forced to wait for hours at food banks all across the country.
This is
oh my
chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. We just got it restocked with the ice cream.
You don't want to eat up everything all at one time.
I can't do it much longer. I'm trying so hard.
We were, shall we say, enjoying.
Having to admit that, yeah, we're starving, and
I like it better than anything else.
Taping this segment, there are 22 million people out of work.
This specific program is about stopping job losses today.
This is hurting people bad.
Other people in our family go for some other flavors, but
right now it's survival move. You don't know where that next something else is going to come from.
I don't know what I would have done if ice cream were not invented. I just wonder.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Perrine, Principal Deputy Communications Director for President Trump's re-election campaign. Joining me in this last part of the Army for Trump online boot camp is Kevin Cabrera from the great state of Florida and our Florida State Director. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Erin.
It's so good to see you. As we've been talking about with both the state directors in Arizona and Iowa, we've talked about how this campaign had to move to a virtual presence and the seamlessness with which that worked. Can you tell us how are things going in Florida and how you're reaching out to voters while we are all working through the virtual campaign?
Florida's Trump Victory team was able to transition over in less than 24 hours. And I say it's in large part due to the fact that President Trump's campaign has been widely recognized as the most advanced and sophisticated digital campaign in modern day history. We've been able to do over 400 trainings such as these all throughout the state of Florida and do over 4 million calls, nearly 4 million calls since mid-March. Just this past weekend, during our National Weekend of Action, we were able to activate over 300 volunteers, and which contribute over 500,000 calls.
Wow, those numbers are incredible. And it's great to see that everybody is staying engaged and finding new ways to bring more folks into the fold to help get President Trump reelected. Kevin, Florida is really a diverse state here in the United States, one that represents a lot of different immigrants and populations throughout the country. But specifically, President Trump's message is one that really resonates with them. And when you contrast that with Joe Biden's message, how is that message really resonating in a truly diverse state like Florida?
As a first-generation American whose family came here fleeing communism, like so many others here in Florida, the Joe Biden-Bernie Sanders policy of financing oppression is, quite frankly, not only wrong, but offensive. And I believe it's dead on arrival here in Florida. You know, Florida is a unique and diverse state. You know, some might say it's multiple states in one, you know, as diverse as it is. And I think when you look at our team, you see that diversity where nearly 50% of it's Hispanic. And that diversity has contributed to, for us to reach out into different communities all across Florida. We've been able to do trainings not only in English, but in Spanish, in Portuguese, even in Mandarin.
Wow, the diversity continues, and the ability to share President Trump's America First freedom message with the different languages we're hosting trainings in is really going to help make sure that we can secure 4 more years for freedom with President Trump. And we've talked a little bit with the other folks on the broadcast this evening about Team Trump and what that means and how we've all kind of helped to step up and support each other. I think you've got a really great story of a volunteer really helping in the community during the coronavirus.
So as we've heard time and time again, President Trump say that this is not a campaign, but rather a movement. I go a little step further. I think, we're a family, and part of being a part of the Trump Victory family is taking care of one another. And it's what we've done during this, during this slowdown. We've got a Trump Victory member up in North Florida, Taylor, who, while doing calls, came across an elderly individual that hadn't been able to go out, hadn't been able to purchase groceries because they were scared. And Taylor went out of his way and has been going out of his way for the past 3 weeks or so to purchase groceries, leave it safely at our door so that person can stay healthy and can stay safe as well at home.
It really is an all hands on deck. And really, like you said, it's more than a movement. It's really a community and a family here with Team Trump. And I think you've got a standout member of the Trump Victory team that we want to highlight here. Let's watch a quick video from Ophelia Jacobson.
Hi, my name is Ophelia Jacobson, and I'm a member of the local Trump Victory campaign in Gainesville, Florida. I first joined in September of 2019 to get involved in politics as a freshman in college. Over the past 9 months, I've had the opportunity to meet with local members of the community and to form relationships with other conservative college students. I think what makes our team so diverse is that we all support the president for different reasons. For me personally, I support President Trump because he has done so much for women over the past 4 years, including establishing WGDP, which has helped millions of women across the globe. My favorite part of the campaign is being able to express my support and to showcase the work of our volunteers on digital platforms. We built a digital army up here in North Central Florida over on Instagram and Twitter. I encourage each and every one of you to get involved with your local Trump Victory campaigns to make a change in the election that will shape the future of our generation.
So Kevin, can you tell us a little bit about Ophelia Jacobson? She seems like a great member of the Trump Victory team.
Ophelia Jacobson's one of our campus team leaders at the University of Florida, where she's been leading the charge for social media advocacy on behalf of President Trump on campus. And it's part of a larger effort where we're educating and teaching our neighborhood team leaders and campus team leaders to generate social media content, and as we call it, hashtag lead right. And I encourage you all to go on your Twitter feeds and type in hashtag lead right, and you'll see a ton of great social media content being generated on behalf of President Trump.
That's right, Kevin. Team members like Ophelia are really making the difference on the ground, sharing the message of President Trump's success person to person. And as you mentioned, hashtag lead right is a great way to see what the campaign is up to. People making phone calls, people enjoying MAGA meetups, staying activated, attending Trump Victory Leadership Initiative trainings. Ophelia is a great part of the team. And Kevin, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Folks, stay tuned. We will be right back.
In 2016, we built an unbeatable operation that changed history. Now, we unveil our next breakthrough. The exclusive Trump 2020 app. This isn't just an app. This is your source for real news, not fake news. Straight from the campaign and the president himself. This is your direct line to give input on key campaign issues. Your portal to register voters, host MAGA meetups, your scheduler, your application on becoming a Trump team leader. Join millions and get a front row seat to our virtual events. Watch Team Trump every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Earn points, get rewarded, get the presidential photo. Oh, and did we mention this is your personal shopper too? So just to repeat, this isn't just an app. This is your tool to keep America great. Join the Army for Trump and download the app today.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Perrine, Principal Deputy Communications Director for President Trump's re-election campaign. And tonight we want to highlight our National Volunteer of the Week. Her name is Patty Nuttall. Patty came from Peru 16 years ago and has been a grassroots force in Wisconsin, helping Republicans for decades to try and help get them elected. In March, RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel hosted a Trump Victory Leadership Initiative training where she highlighted Patty and the fact that Patty made our 10 millionth phone call. Patty has been working so hard in the state of Wisconsin, recruiting volunteers, getting them to show up and help get the message out there about President Trump's America First success. Patty, thank you so much for all of your hard work. Everyone on Team Trump appreciates what you're doing to help get President Trump reelected. If you're interested in joining the Army for Trump, like Patty and like the great stories you have heard today on this broadcast, go to armyfortrump.com. There are videos and ways to get involved. You can learn how to make phone calls from home, sign up to become a volunteer, learn how to become a digital activist like Ophelia. And if you want to be able to make sure this campaign has the resources it needs, you can find out on how to become a bundler, a grassroots bundler to help bring in money to make sure we can get President Trump's message out there. Make sure you join us and text Trump to 88022. That way you're getting the latest information straight to your phone. Another great way and an absolute must for every member of the Army for Trump is to download the new Trump 2020 campaign app. It's available in the iPhone store and on Google Android Play for you to be able to download the app and stay involved. You'll find out about these nightly broadcasts, about events in your area, and ways to get involved. You can earn points for things like a discount in the store, and even if you earn 100,000 points, a photo with President Trump himself. Stay engaged, stay activated, Team Trump, because together we can make sure America First remains with President Trump for 4 more years. I want to thank everybody who joined us on this night's broadcast, and I want to thank you at home for joining us as well. Stay safe, stay healthy, and together we're on to victory.